Tirana. Finally, I am outside of the airport because it has been quite a challenge. Let's start in the cave. Okay, finally, 10 hours this would have took me from my home to get finally to Tirana, and I am in the most important spot of it, or one of them. It's a Skanderberg Square. Here there is a lot of cultural and religious buildings, like the opera over here, or the historic museum over there with this beautiful mosaic. And of course, I love Tirana sign, because who doesn't love Tirana? So in all these nice old looking buildings, mostly they are all dedicated for different kind of ministries. Anything that you can think of, from Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the infrastructure. Okay, now I'm ascending the Pyramid of Tirana. Initially it was a mausoleum for Enver Hoxha, who used to be a communist leader of Albania for many decades in the last century. Pretty much ever since communists came to power and his death. So it used to be an Enver Hoxha mausoleum and a museum dedicated to his life. He died in 1985 and they built the pyramids in 1988. However, it has been really shunned upon, and especially after the collapse of the communism in the country. So for a very long time there has been multiple considerations of what to do with the building. During the Kosovo War it has been a base for NATO forces, more like their part of their headquarters. Then for a long time they even considered demolishing the whole site. And I'll just add some pictures here how it used to look. It has been quite different. Right now it looks super modern, which makes sense because they just reconstructed it last year in 2022. Now this is a center of use in IT, so yeah, changed the whole purpose of what it used to be, and they consider to demolish it and build a new parliament or open an opera house in there. But at the end of the day, it remained more or less here. And you know, despite it being connected to the communism that, you know, majority of people here don't like after how the things were going back in the days, still a wonderful landmark that makes Tirana more interesting. This is what I talk about, the cool modern church. This is so unusual. Why, I don't know, in Ukraine, in a lot of other European countries, the Orthodox churches tend to represent the ones that, like, you know, existed before. Why not to build something interesting like this? Like, it's amazing. I understand that a lot of times they're just trying to rebuild the ones that were destroyed back in the days, but yeah, this church is something different. today I found in myself in a very nice park. There's a huge artificial lake, as it turned out to be. That is the main viewpoint in the whole park. And in all honesty, they've done a pretty good job making better infrastructure here. Like there's all the lights, benches, yeah, pavements, all you really need. And it looks pretty neat. Wonderful and enjoyable place to be. So, one of my favorite spots here so far. Okay, still walking through this amazing park, and I'm being harassed sonically by cicadas. You know, after spending a day in Tirana, I did grow to like it more. It really reminds me still of Ukraine, and of course many other European countries. I think especially the ones who were under the communism for a while. Thus, I think now, after its collapse, a lot of them are in the phase of this rebuilding, and Tirana is doing a pretty good job in doing so. I feel like this park is a wonderful example of what they were able to do. Not necessarily for rebuilding, but I feel like the infrastructure is pretty on good level. So, good job, Tirana. I do like the fact that most of their new buildings are somewhat creative. So this is what they did with the stadium. It's not just for the football games. There's a lot of cafes, restaurants. Looks like there are also some offices. So they really made this whole arena multi-purpose. It's really tough. The weather so hot. It's 37, I think, in the sun right now, and I'm melting. Ice cappuccino helps a bit, of course, and you know, I am next to some of their older administrative buildings that not necessarily in use anymore. So this protection bunker used to be a post that sort of was segregating the quarters where communists lived. Of course, including Enver Hoxha, the leader of the Communist Party and leader of Albania during the communist times, were living. So it was preventing unwarranted people from entering this part of Tirana. And now we are approaching Enver Hoxha's residence. heard. Let's see what it's all about. Pretty interesting story. So this used to be a building of some doctor, and it served its purpose as a hospital for about 20 to 30 years, and then it became known much more as the House of Leaves. That became a surveillance center. So it's something similar to all the secret services, like I suppose CIA for US, KGB for Soviet Union, and this is where the local police was surveilling the nationals. Oh, these are the people who were doing the surveillance. So this museum really shows how this whole process was going, what were the tools, what were the techniques. And I think what also made me realize how important of a symbol Italy is made now, the fact that there is some little artworks, little sculptures of sorts that children made at schools. And they are also on display in the House of Leaves. And this is really being presented in a pretty bizarre way, something in the 1984 kind of style, when I think this is how Albania manifesting their stance on their past, and yeah, this is how they decided they are thinking about it. So it's a pretty interesting museum, and highly recommend for everyone. Okay, when they called it Bunk'Art, I was expecting it's gonna be something more of like a contemporary art museum, but the topic is pretty much stays the same as in House of Leaves. It's all about the communist past, how they're condemning it, all the atrocities that happened back in the days. But House of Leaves has kind of more flair to it, you know. It's I think the entourage is just more juicier than walking through the bunker. Generally still interesting. I think compared these two, I preferred House of Leaves more. They do include some art installations, but they are like not impressive at all to outweigh the House of Leaves experience. Still fun. So if you are into this kind of stuff, go for it. I'm not judging. Okay, it's time to talk about some medieval heroes, and I think I already presented you the Skanderberg Square, and now I found out a bit more about him. So Skanderberg, as you can even see by his outfit, has been, he lived in like 15th century, and he's been a super nice and powerful commander for back in the days. And Balkans were under Ottoman Empire for a very, very long time. And apparently he, Skanderberg, was able to assemble a huge enough in terms of power army and able to resist Ottomans. So under his rule, or more like under his command, they were able to take over the Albania, and after failing to defeat his army, Ottoman Empire said, okay, good, you know what, it's enough. We agree that Albania is independent, so on and so forth. He was a ruler of Albania for like a few years until he died. And after this, Albania lost their independence again. So I guess Skanderberg has been so significant and crucial to that particular point that his death was the death of Albania's independence until 1912, when they acquired it again. Am I the only one weirded out by the way the opera letters are hanging? Looks like they're about to fall off. Okay, Skanderberg, and him being such a prominent historical figure, is a perfect segue into the Museum of Albanian History. Let's check it out. Okay, as I'm stepping out of the National Historical Museum, I think I learned something. There's of course different exhibits from different times, different time frames. Has been some, ancient stuff, something before Byzantium period. There is of course exhibitions about the independence part, both of them, like how they achieved it after Ottoman Empire and the Skanderberg time. There is actually surprisingly a big exposition of iconography, so like the icons from Christianity. And me personally, not knowing as much before going to Albania, expecting this to be more of a Muslim country, this has been quite a revelation, so to say. There is a lot of works presented here. They're mainly beautiful. The panel can follow me right now, so it's actual Albanian school of iconography, apparently, that was going on 16th, 19th century, around this time, hailing from Byzantium. So, the more you learn, the more you know. And I think most of the interesting things are going on here. I do love the building, that it's this older brutalist style. I think the lack of air conditioning there, of course, comes with the beautiful design that this building has. And I got some merch from their museum shop, you know, just to support them a bit. This is also the museum where they were prohibiting taking pictures. I think in House of Leaves they were also sort of, but they didn't really care as much, I feel like. Here, yeah, but it also was the cheapest admission price, so check it out as well. Lovely people working there. Perfect timing. It's already raining pretty heavily. On to the next one. So here is Mother Teresa. Yeah, I think from my Skopje trip we all learned that she was born in Skopje, but she was Albanian. So that's why she also being highly praised and recognized here too. And in the historical museum there's a whole section dedicated to Mother Teresa, or Nana Teresa as we call her here, which I think just means mom. So yeah, and the whole airport, here is her name. I just have 3 more hours to wait until my check-in, so I'm trying to do something.